Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to crochet this strong and sturdy strap. This strap can be used to attach to a handbag, and you could even make a belt out of it. The benefit of this strap and this stitch is that it does not stretch, and it's very strong and sturdy. So what you'll need to make a very strong strap is 100% cotton yarn. Now you can use acrylic yarn, but acrylic tends to stretch more. If you are going to use acrylic, then definitely use this particular technique because it really does stop your work from stretching. I like to use this particular hook when I make my strap. This is a Susan Bates crochet hook. The reason I like this hook is that it has a point on the end and a sharper hook that helps you really get into your stitches. This is a size 4mm. The yarn calls for a 5, but because I want my stitches very close together and very tight, I like to use a size 4mm. So for this demonstration, I'm going to show you how to attach your strap onto a ring. You do not necessarily have to use a ring. You can go ahead and attach your strap directly to your work if that's what you prefer. To attach it to a ring, you're going to take your hook and put it into the ring. You're going to place a slip knot onto your hook, and you're going to bring that knot through your ring, around it, and a slip knot. Now, depending on the width of your strap, you're going to place that many single crochets onto your ring. So for this demonstration, I think I'll do 5. I'm not going to count that first as a stitch. So this is 1 single crochet. I'm going to bring my tail along here and just crochet right over my tail as well. Bring my hook in through my ring, yarn under, bring it through the ring and my tail, yarn over and pull through to make a single crochet. That's 1, 2, into my ring, yarn under, through, yarn over, pull through both loops on my hook. That's 3, into the ring, bring it through, yarn over, pull through my 2 loops. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to be going into the back loop only of our stitches, and sometimes they can get kind of lost down below, and it's hard to find your stitch. For example, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go ahead and just place this stitch marker here. That's going to help us when we get to our end find our stitches better. All right, so at the end I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to turn my work. Now from here out we're going to be placing our stitches into the back loop of our work. So when you look at the top of your work here, you can see how it forms little V's. Placing our hook into the back loop of that V, we're going to make a single crochet. Okay, back loop, bring it up, pull it through, back loop, bring it through, single crochet. Here I'm into the last stitch. just to make sure that I counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See how this first one is starting to twist? That's where your stitch marker is going to come in handy. I'll put one on this end too, so that I can easily find, it just pulls it right up for me, that end stitch. Okay, at the end of each row, I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. Now what we're going to do is going to get a little fiddly here. We're going to be going into the back loop of the stitch from the row we just did, and we're going to pick up the back loop of the row below. So I'm going to remove my hook or my stitch marker. This V that my yarn is coming out of is not the stitch we're going to use. We're going into this one. So I'm going into my back loop, and I'm coming down to the row below, and I'm going to pick up this loop and create my single crochet. Okay, I'm going to go into the back loop here. I'm going to go down to the row below, and you can see the other side of my V. I'm going to pick up that one, yarn over, pull it through, and a single crochet. Back loop down here, this would be my back loop again. Pull it through, single crochet. Now look, I forgot to put my stitch marker in. I'm going to catch it now, because again, when we get to the end, when we come back, this stitch wants to kind of hide down in there. So that just helps pull it up nicely. As you get more familiar with this though, you'll be able to see your stitches, and you may not require your stitch markers. It does get to be kind of tedious placing them and remove them on such a short piece of work, but I do try to make my tutorials easy enough for someone who is new to crochet. So and sometimes when you're newer, finding your stitches can be a challenge. So this is just a trick that helps pull your stitches and makes them easier to find. All right, so I'm on my next V, back loop, coming down to my back loop, bringing my yarn through, yarn over there. Now you'll see here is my last V, pulling up my stitches nicely for me. I probably should do a row for you without using the stitch marker to give you an idea how that stitch pulls down in there. Back loop. Try to make this so you can see, coming down to my last stitch here. Pulling through, making a single crochet, chain 1 and turn. I think I'll leave the stitch markers out just so you can see how they do kind of get pulled in. All right, so now we're just going to continue doing this, going into the back loop and then going down a row to the back loop, the row below. With a single crochet. Back loop, back loop, pull my yarn through, single crochet, back, back, okay, it's pretty easy actually, but it makes such a nice strong piece of fabric to make a strap out of. All right, removing my stitch marker for my last stitch. Here's my back loop of the row below, chain 1 and turn. Okay, so I did not use stitch markers, so I'll show you how this end piece, you can kind of see my stitches hidden down here, but as you start crocheting more and more, you'll be able to see your stitches. And you won't need to worry about your stitch marker. I'd say probably by the time you finish a strap, you'd be good at finding those stitches. This is quite a repetitive piece of work. It's something that I enjoy doing while watching TV or, otherwise it doesn't take a lot of thinking. All right, so here I am at the end, and you can see that it's a little difficult. Me and my blue today, look at this. Okay. I hope you can see all this on camera. This is deep down here where my stitch is. You see how having put in my stitch marker helped bring it up so it's easy to find. You would maybe miss this stitch if you're not using your stitch marker. So I'll pull it up. That's the top piece, and then the bottom piece is right here. Okay, so chain one and turn. Using that stitch marker really just helps hold it up for you so you're not going to miss your stitches. Back row, pull through. I'll do that one more time on this end so that I can point out that for you. I mean, maybe you don't have stitch markers. That's a possibility. If not, you can use something like a safety pin or a bobby pin to mark that last stitch. Just kind of bring it through there. It just helps identify, like I said, that last stitch. Here we come up on that, and I'll show you again how difficult it can be to see if you're not familiar. So this is the stitch we want to find. You see how it's kind of buried in there, and it can be even worse sometimes. I'm going to pull it out with my little needle here, you see? So that's what I want as my back stitch, or back loop. I've got it there. I'm coming down to the row below and pulling it through. Now I am going to go back to chain one, turn. I am going to go back to putting a stitch marker in so that it's easy to find on my next go through. Okay, so just having this stitch marker gives you something to pull up that stitch, and you can easily identify that V. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, you can see how things are coming along here, and continue to give some length here on my strap, and I will show you then how to end your work and put it on the other end of your hook or loop, whatever you're going to use. It could be onto this as well. Okay, so I'll get back with you soon. Okay guys, so let's say that your strap is as long as you want it. Now you want to end it off. You can, again, either just crochet it right onto your bag if you are making a strap for your bag, or if you want to put some hardware on it, maybe you're making a belt, or you'd like to have a clasp on the end of your strap like this. I'm going to show you how to connect your work to a piece of hardware. All right, so I just finished the last row. I'm going to chain one, and I want to give myself a pretty long tail, and we're going to pull our yarn through. You'll need a darning needle. All right, so now what we want to do is place our ring along, there's a groove that you can find. This is where we were going through with our hook and going from the top to the bottom and lifting up those loops. So if you can put your ring right in there, that just kind of gives it a nice little place to hang on to. So I've got my yarn, I've gone ahead and just brought it through so there's a knot here, and I'm going to put my needle through the ring. I'm going to bring my needle now down to this first loop, just like we were doing before when we were pulling it up with our crochet hook. Didn't want to twist that. Now you'll see I've got my V up here. I'm going to bring my needle underneath that V, okay? It's going to kind of hold on to things. So I want to go through twice each time so that I have a nice, good grip on here. So I've got it going through this way underneath the V. I'm going to place my needle into my ring to bring it through. And I'm going to place it again underneath that same first loop that we did, okay? I'm not going to go through the ring though, just under this hoop, or this loop, I mean. I keep wanting to go that way. You don't want it to twist, so just bring your yarn through that way. Okay, now I'm going to bring my needle back, and I'm going to go into the next V. Now I'm bringing my needle into my ring, and I'm going to come down to my next bar, just through the bar though, not through my ring. Okay, now I'm going to bring my needle into my ring, and place it under my loop down below. Okay, and that's my twice there. I'm going to take my needle, put it under my V. Bring my needle through my hoop or my ring. I'm going to pick up the next bar. The next V. Go through twice. I'm going to go back down into that bar. And back in that V. I want 2 times in each one, at least 2 times. You really want this to be nice and secure. Okay, you can kind of see how we're coming along here. Bringing my needle around, coming down now to the next bar, and then the next V, bringing it over through my ring, picking up that bar again, and going under my V above. So we're pretty much doing the same thing we were doing with our hook, but because we can't draw that hook through our ring, we're using this needle, okay? We're picking up the bar below and we're picking up the V up top. Okay, so I'm going to bring my needle now through. I went through twice on that one, so I'll go down to the next one. Here's my bar, picking it up, coming up to my V, bringing my needle through my ring, picking up that bar again, and my 2 V's, or I should say the V at the top stitch, okay, both pieces of my stitch. I'm going to do that a second time, bring it through my ring, pick up the bar down below, both parts of my V on the top, through my ring. Okay, you can see how we've got our work coming across here. I'm going to go in again through the bottom, and I want to pick up this little part that wants to stick out there. Just bring it in a little, so I'll go down through here. You see how that picks it up, makes it a little neater. Bring it in through my ring. Now what I want to do is hide this tail and get it nice and secure through my ring. So I'm just going to take it and weave it in and out. It's going to be tight, but that's okay. It'll be secure. Just try to get your needle in along through these stitches here. If it means just going through a couple at a time, that's fine. You can just stick your needle right back in again. Like I said, there really is no right way to do this. Just making sure that your stitches are secure. Really made these tight. You could use a sharper pointed needle if you want. You can switch it out. That might make it a little easier. This blunt end is a little hard to kind of feed through, especially as tight as everything is. Okay, so there it went through one way. Now I'm going to come and pick up a piece of yarn coming across that way because I want to bring it back now in the other direction. But I want to make sure that I pick up a piece of that yarn to kind of grasp it on there. All right, so now I'm just going to weave going in the other direction. You want to do this a couple of different times to really make sure you're good and secure. It's a little easier going down this second way. Okay, just grabbing a few strands. That way, I want to go back another time. I want to make sure this is good and secure, so I'm just going to pick up a piece of this edge here, and I'm going to go right back in this direction. So at least 3 times, okay, back and forth, and then you should feel pretty secure in trimming your end. Okay. So there you see, it's nice and tight, pretty neat looking. Okay guys, so there it is. This is your extra strong, sturdy, non-stretchy strap that can be used for handbags, can be used if you want to make a belt, or even this would make a nice little key fob. as well. Maybe I'll make a couple of those. The original strap was for a tutorial I made on a granny square handbag. I'll go ahead and put a link to that original video above here for you, and hopefully you'll have an opportunity to make the handbag. It's a pretty cute bag. I get a lot of compliments when I wear it out. So if you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified the next time I post a video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.